output tax liability. For example, initially ISD has distributed credit of 1 lakh and later on he received a credit note, because of which he had got a 1000 of credit reduction. Because of which he has distributed more ITC. Now he has to reduce it. To that extent, even he has to distribute the credit note figures, which may come and sit as a negative figures, and it will be added to my output tax liability register. Next one is Rule 42.1. We have already seen in the morning session where Anis sir already explained T1, T2. When you get a common C2 credits, that is common ITC, you have to apply the proportionate formula. Common input tax credit into exempted value, exempted turnover divided by a total turnover. Whatever the amount you will get, that will be added back to the output tax liability register. Similarly, proportionate reversal in case of common capital goods. Morning Anis sir I give an example. In case of a common capital goods, the total input tax credit has to be divided by 60, and each month you have to ascertain how much is the credit of which is used for exempted supply, and that has to be paid with interest. So such amount will be added to my output tax liability register. Next, in case provisional reversal is lesser than the actual reversal to be made. If you see Rule 42, I need to make the reversal for the tax period provisionally, and same thing I have to redo before September of the subsequent financial year. And in case if I have taken more amount, more ITC than what I was supposed to take, then it will be added to my output tax liability. If I have taken lesser than what I was supposed to take, then it will be reduced from my output tax liability register. Clear? Clear with respect to the reversal of ITC? And table 12 is with your mismatch. I will just explain the mismatch subsequently, then we will come back to the table 12 when it will be added and when it will be reduced from my output tax liability register. Table 13 is very important because you have to upload HSN summary of inward supplies. Whatever the inward supplies you have received for the tax period, HSN wise you have to give the breakup in GSTR 2. So that means if the supplier is not liable to show the HSN because his turnover is less than 1.5 crores, that exemption will not be available for me because my turnover will be more than 5 crores. So in that situation, if he has not given the HSN, I need to identify the HSN, and HSN basis summary I need to give in table 13 of GSTR 2. So that means each and every invoice or each and every procurement what we have made, first I need to identify the HSN. If it is not given by the supplier, then upload the table 13 of GSTR 2. And this will take a lot of time because your system may not give this data.
Quantity number 5.
Yes.
Can we do in unit also? Unit
of measurement only. I need to select the drop down box. Drop down list will be given. You need to select number, boxes or cages, whatever it is.
Both is there. One section both is there.
Separate 2 line items you may require to do. Clear? I think here you have to give a more importance because your system will not be able to give this data. Because HSN wise inward supplies may not be recorded as of now, and you have to remodify your system so that it will update your inward supplies HSN basis. So your inward HSN will be much more than your outward supply ka HSN, because you will have one kind or two kinds or maximum 10 varieties of supplies and 10 HSN will be there. But your inward supplies will be more than 50 to 100 HSNs. So all HSN data has to be recorded in your table 13 of GSTR 2.
8 digit we need to put up.
No, applicability here. If you are more than 5 crore, 4 digit.
For export it is compulsory, I think.
Yes, export and import 8 digit is compulsory.
Even 8 digits write also no problem. You can write also.
Sorry?
8 digits you can write also. If you mention 8 digits, if you maintain 8 digits.
You can maintain, sir, if you want. No, there is no prohibition for mentioning 8 digit.
No, what
But
problem?
suggested is 4 digit.
Correct 4 digit okay. When knowing the correct taxation, unless if you 8 digit, you cannot correct what is the rate of tax.
So you are going back to the central excise. That is separate. Under GST, you have to classify 4 digit basis only, and rate is also given under 4 digit only, not 8 digit basis. Clear? Table 13 is clear because it is very important when you are going to file GSTR 2. If you don't have this data, you will be struggling a lot. For example, you have any kind of policy like reimbursement to your employees, health related aspects if you are reimbursing, and if they give you the pharmacy invoices, there will be plenty of HSNs where you have to mention here, but you are not eligible to take the credit on that because it is a staff welfare expenses. GSTR 2 is completed successfully. We are going to see what is GSTR 3. Before going to GSTR 3, I will explain you. GSTR 3 is very simple. Why very simple? Yes. We have almost taken a struggle to submit the statements of GSTR 1 and 2. So our return of GSTR 3 will become very easy for us. So all the liabilities from GSTR 1 will be auto-populated. All the credits of ITC or anything else or creation of liability from GSTR 2 also will get auto-populated. Only what I need to do is I need to make the payment. You need to see what is the net finality of GSTR 1 minus GSTR 2 and whether you need to make the payment in cash or whether credit will be sufficient to make the payment. Accordingly, you need to file the GSTR 3. In GSTR 3, there are two parts, Part A and Part B. Part A is fully auto-populated. Part B is your payment adjustment. How much you are paying with cash, how much you are paying with ITC, and how much is the interest or penalty or a late fee or any other amount which you are liable to pay, and how you have paid. These details if I give in Part B and upload my GSTR 3, then it will be submitted. If there is any difference in payment, for example, my liability is 1 crore, but I have paid 99,90,000. 10,000 I have not paid. What will happen? Your return will become invalid, and subsequently it will not allow you to file any return unless you pay the 10,000 and make return valid. When you pay this 10,000, again you may require to fill Part B of the GSTR 3 once again. Clear?
Submission of digital 1 to 3. Digital signature is compulsory.
Yes, sir. Digital signature is compulsory. Signature is compulsory for all the returns. If you see the last verification, if it is there, digital.
One more option is for EVC.
That is Aadhaar based e-sign also can be done.
EVC also.
Yes, EVC, that is OTP will come by way of which you can go ahead, sir. Same procedure when you have obtained the registration of GST, whatever the procedure was there, one is e-signature or else a DSC, same thing will be applicable for GST 1, 2, 3 as also. I'll just skip all these things because it is nothing but auto population from GSTR 1 and 2, only the part B I need to fill here. If you see, this is what we are going to fill. Part B, what is the tax payable and paid, and what is the interest, late fee or any other amount payable and paid, and what is the refund claimed from electronic cash ledger. If you have a more balance in your electronic cash ledger after payment of tax also, you can claim a refund of it. And debit entries in electronic cash and credit ledger. Initially, when Madam was explaining the initial session, she was telling electronic cash ledger, credit ledger, and electronic liability register. We have three different ledgers, and even though you have a balance in cash ledger and credit ledger, unless and until it is transferred or it is utilized for the payment of liability which is there in electronic tax liability register, payment is not made. You have to pass one entry wherein you debit the cash ledger and credit the liability register. If you have not done this, then payment is not made, even though you have a sufficient cash balance in your cash ledger. Similar to her example, OD account and FD and saving account. Current account. This is a part B which we are required to file in GSTR 3. All other things will get auto-populated from 1 and 2. Okay. This I think I want to skip this because so that we can go to the others.
Madam, how can we transfer that amount from cash ledger to liability ledger? What you explained now.
I'll come back.
Is there any option to transfer?
If you see here, how much I am paying through ITC is there and how much I am paying through cash is there. Once I give this entry amounts here, automatically entry will happen back end. Okay. Next is GSTR 3B. GSTR 3B is simple because what we are getting and use is it's a consolidated amount what we require to fill in GSTR 3B. So it is very easy. That's why they are telling you to file a GSTR 3B by 20th of the August. We'll see how much easy it is. This is already explained by Madam, so I'll skip this. And very important is GSTR 3B will be available from 7th of August. This is the latest information what we have got from the Twitter, where they are telling GSTR 3B will come into function from 7th of August. That means Monday.
We can't believe Twitter now, madam.
Sorry, sir?
When is available, madam?
One?
Transaction 1 is when is available?
GSTR 1. It is on. Tran. No idea, sir. No idea. Tran 1, there is no Twitter also for that effect.
No Twitter, we can't depend upon no.
But it will come to that extent, sir.
These information we can rely.
Not the law related clarification, but this information we can rely on Twitter.
See, you can rely on Twitter. You cannot use it as a legal.
But you can't go back and tell, you can't tell that you have not released by 7th, which was promised. It is just a merely information. Even this can get postponed if the form is not ready. Okay. The table, is it visible to all? GSTR 3B. I'll read out. That's a best option. First, I'll just let me take each and everything. Okay. If we see the GSTR 3B, what I need to give is outward taxable supplies other than zero rated, nil rated and exempted. I need to give the consolidated outward taxable supplies. How I need to identify outward taxable supplies? I need to take total value of invoices which are raised, add total value of debit notes raised during the tax period. Why I need to add debit notes? Because it will increase my tax liability because upward revision of price. Then reduce value of credit notes because it will reduce my tax liability. Then add value of advances received for which invoices have not been issued in the same month. If you have received any advances for which invoice has not been raised in the same month, add the same to the taxable values and less value of advances adjusted against invoices. If any of the advances paid you are adjusting for the invoice raised in the tax period, then I need to reduce the same, by which I will be able to identify what is the value of taxable supplies of total outward supplies made by me for a tax period, and that value should come and sit in column 2 of table 3.1, and accordingly I need to show how much is IGST, how much is CGST, how much is SGST. That means there is no bifurcation as a intrastate and interstate. All put together one value I show, but tax on it will be divided into IGST or CGST and SGST, and rate wise also breakup I am not giving over there. So on total tax value, if they apply any of the rate, they will not be able to reconcile what is the tax is required to be paid by them. So for this 3.1a itself, I need to have one Excel sheet where I need to do this formula application. Also rate wise bifurcation I should have, and also interstate and intrastate bifurcation I should have to just fill 3.1a. Merely to fill 3.1a table, I need to do all this back end work. Is it simple? Yes. We have to assume that it's very simple and go ahead with our work. Later on also, if you find any complication, you should feel that it will help for us to file GSTR 1 and 2 when we have a back data. Whatever you do it in Excel and then take here, and your GSTR 1 2 should also match to this effect. Because it's for a same tax period, I am filing two kinds of returns, but one return cannot tell liability is 10,000, another return cannot tell liability is 1 crore. Yes? Both should get matched. And better it is suggested is GSTR 1 is already out. File the GSTR 1, from which anyways you will get the liability, take from there itself. Instead of having one more Excel sheet working, file the GSTR 1 before 20th and get the output tax liability to be payable from there to GSTR 3B, and remaining you have to again have a computation in Excel sheet or any other format. And next I need to give outward supplies, outward taxable supplies 0 rated. So your SEZ supplies and exports has to capture in table 3.1 B. C will get captured other outward supplies, that is your nil rated and exempted. And I need to give inward supplies wherein I am liable to pay under reverse charge. Inward supply where I am liable to pay under reverse charge, again similar kind of formula I need to apply, because even though there also I would have paid advances on which I am liable to pay GST. So all those computations I have to make in an Excel sheet, and total value has to come in the table. So the GSTR 3B, they are merely telling you to submit the total, but to submit the total your back end work will remain same thing, same efforts you have to put to file GSTR 3B also. Instead of that, they would have told merely file GSTR 1, 2 and 3. That would have been the sufficient, safer side. But what to do? Their formats have not got ready. GSTR 1 it is ready, 2 and 3 is not yet ready. So they want us to file GSTR 3B in lieu of that. And non-GST supplies, if you have any petroleum products or alcohol, even that turnover has to be shown in table 3.1. Coming back, out of the supply shown in 3.1a, what is 3.1a? Outward supplies. About details of interstate supplies made to an unregistered person, composition taxable person and UIN holders. It's too much. I have showed in 3.1a, but again they want us to give the breakup. How much supplies you have made to an unregistered person, how much supply you have made to a composition dealer, and how much supplies you have made to a UIN, that is unique identity number holders, that is all your embassies will come into that. So even there I need to give a breakup. Supplies made to a unregistered, same thing. In their place of supply I need to give supplies made to unregistered dealer. Place of supply may be more than one, right? Because I may supply to a person who is located in Tamil Nadu, who is located in Andhra Pradesh, or who is located in Delhi, who is not registered. So I need to give 3 states here under unregistered itself. So if you see supplies made to unregistered person and place of supply is more than one state, That means 2 rows will come into picture there itself, and I have to give the total, what I need to give, total taxable value for that. And what is the amount of integrated tax? Clear? 3.1a was sufficient for us to give lot of trouble, but this table is increasing your efforts. Next, eligible ITC. For taking input tax credit, I need to fill table 4. Table 4 requires you to show how much is the import of goods, import of services, and inward supplies liable to reverse charge. If you see, I have shown inward supplies liable to reverse charge here. Same amount I need to copy and paste in table 4, row 3. Wherein inward supplies liable for reverse charge. Inward supplies from ISD. Why inward supplies from ISD? Because they have distributed the credit, so I am eligible to take the ITC of it. And all other ITC should come under row 5. So even while obtaining a ITC, I need to give the breakup. How much is from import of services, how much is from import of goods, how much is inward supplies wherein I have paid the tax under reverse charge, and how much is the inward supplies received from ISD and any other input tax credit.
Our same liability paid in August, whether I can adjust in the month of July liability?
Sir, for example, for July month, you are liable to pay 20th by 20th of August. In the same manner, you are liable to take the credit also.
You can bring in the August.
Sorry?
You can bring in 20th.
It's okay. There is no condition. Sir, you have to forget something from service tax. If you see the service tax, I need to pay tax this month and subsequently I need to obtain the credit. In the same month, I was not allowed to take the credit. But when it comes to a GST, for a July month, liability also you will be paying in August, and credit also you will be taking in the month of August, which can be used for payment of July liability itself. So same thing, both the entries will happen in the same month. Debit credit happens in the same manner, but while paying I need to pay in cash. That's the only one condition. Next is ITC reversal. What is ITC reversal?
What about the goods come for river?
Sorry?
Goods have come for river.
You have exported, it has come back for a repair work. You have that 6 months criteria, no sir. If you are re-exporting within 6 months after repair, no need to pay the taxes on it.
We have paid IGST.
You have paid IGST, then while exporting again you pay and export. No, I'm just asking, you have imported the goods, you have paid IGST, take the credit of it, and while exporting normal export transaction you have to show. Normal export transaction.
But should we go with LUT or?
Of course you have to, LUT has to be executed. LUT or bond has to be executed in case of exports. With payment, without payment, LUT or bond is compulsory.
That has come for river.
No problem sir. But you are exporting, no again not. Sorry?
That import has to be disclosed.
LUT is not compulsory.
Bond is compulsory.
Sorry?
Bond.
So bond or LUT is compulsory
No, it's
for...
not compulsory for payment, IGST payment.
Okay, I understand if you are going with payment of IGST bond is not compulsory. Okay, I am not aware of it. Okay, if it is without...
Disclose that.
Hmm?
You need to disclose that import of goods.
No license.
No, import of goods it is there. Export, no, they are not. If you see zero rated is there, sir. Outward taxable supply zero rated. Zero rated is nothing but export and SSL clearances.
No, if it has come for river also, that also will.
Sir, if you are treating how you are treating the rework thing, sir, you are paid the tax and imported, right?
Yeah.
If you have not, if you have paid the tax and returned back, so that will come under import of services here, import of goods here, and when you export it, it will go as a zero rated supply.
We will be raising a service invoice for the labor charge.
Sorry?
We will be raising a service invoice.
You will be rising or you will not be rising?
We will be raising the service invoice.
Service invoice.
For the labor charge.
Okay, that's fine. That's not a problem.
For that I need to pay IGST.
That's what if you
No, it should say
Export of goods.
So, sir, how you are treating, whether with payment of GST or without payment of GST? If you opt for with payment of GST, you have to pay and then go for a refund. If you are not going without payment of GST, then you have to execute the LUT or bond to export it.
again for services and criteria of foreign mover remittance, convertible foreign exchange.
Yes, it is there.
But that will be treated as export of goods.
Sir, I'll come back to this transaction because first of all, I have a doubt whether you need to pay the taxes when you import it. I'll come back because if you see the provisions of section 13 or 12 of IGST Act, if it is for a repair work and if it is going within 6 months of time, then no need to pay any taxes on it. I'll come back to you on that. Okay. Okay. Apart from that, we'll come back to our GSTR 3B. Coming back to the eligible ITC, we have seen a 4A of the table. When it comes to a 4B, I need to do the reversal. What is this reversal? Whatever was explained by the Honey sir, that is your T1, T2 related aspects, or capital goods. If it is a common capital goods, whatever the proportionate credit you have to reverse. That is section 42, rule 42 and 43 reversal has to come. And if you want to reverse ITC for any other purpose, should will come and fall in others. And net of ITC will come into row C. That is 4C, you will get the eligible input tax credit. In that also you have to see how much is towards 17.5, section 17 subsection 5, that is restricted credits that you are required to reduce, and balance will be the eligible credit for the purpose of payment of your GST. Clear? And then if you see table 5, I need to give the total of value of exempt, nil rated and non-GST inward supplies. So I need to give separately how much is the value of supplies I have received from a person who is supplying me exempted goods, nil rated or non-GST inward. Not only the outward supplies, even in case of an inward supplies, if it is exempted, I need to show separately, and if it is a non-GST inward supply, I need to show it separately. And even here, if you see, I need to further bifurcate it towards interstate and intrastate. This is the details you have to give it in GSTR 3B, which you are going to file by 20th of this month. So be ready for preparing the data. And last is payment of taxes. Now I have identified what is my output tax liability. Now I need to see how much I am paying through ITC and how much I am paying through cash, and is there any interest or late fee. After this, I need to submit my GSTR 3B. Verification will come. Once verification is done, signature has to be done by the authorized signatory, and later on I need to submit the GSTR 3B. TDS, presently it is not applicable. Is it easy?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Everybody is feeling very easy. I don't know. Oh my God. They will be thinking how the data will be captured from the accounting software. How I need to obtain a report from the accounting software. If you are not obtaining, then you are time. I don't know how it will be.
First 2-3 days file, then only we can.
So 3B will not be applicable for all the times. Wherever there is an extension of GSTR 1 and 2, then only 3B will come into picture, or else 3B will not at all come.
Chances of extending the 3B up to them.
I don't know. He's asking, is there any chances of extension of due date for 3B also? Might be there, sir. By seeing the complexities, they have to give extension of time. Sorry?
Opening balance of earlier credit is not there. You have to pay utility.
Sir, yes, I understand. What sir is trying to explain is Tran 1 is not yet available in a common portal. So, if I am not submitted the Tran 1, the closing balance of credit will not come and sit in my electronic credit ledger. So, if it is not there in my electronic credit ledger, to that extent I may be paying through cash. Even though I have a credit, I need to pay through cash. So government will have a more revenue for next 3 to 4 months. Yes? Or else maybe up to September, they'll have a huge cash payments from the assessees. Okay. Coming back to the matching concept. Matching we'll take with an example. How we can do the matching. What you understand by matching?
Matching the data uploaded with supplier.
Here it is not for the purpose of taking ITC or something else. Any transaction between business to business has to be matched. This is the intention of the government. Any transaction from a business to another person who is also a business person and registered, the transaction has to get matched.
Whether 10 rupees or 1000 or 10,000.
No monetary limit. 1 rupee also it should match. How it should match? There is a methodology given to match the transaction. If you see, the transaction should match with GSTIN number of the supplier, GSTIN number of the recipient, invoice number or debit note number, invoice number or debit note date, and tax amount. 5 criteria are there to match one transaction. If any transaction uploaded by the supplier, which even I have included in my GSTR2 when I have uploaded my GSTR2. So from GSTR1 and GSTR2, when it gets matched, it will take all the 5 criteria to be matched. Any one it is not matched, it will become mismatch. When this mismatch may come into picture, whenever there is a manually added by the recipient, there may be always there will be a chances of getting mismatched, because hyphen or one number if you mistakenly means if you won't put, or else if you put one number extra, it will become mismatch. Sir, initially I don't know whether it will get auto-populate or not, because we don't know whether the supplier will be uploading this GSTR1 or not. And even if he uploads, if I has given GSTR number of the other party, it will become a mismatch. For example, from supplier side, I have uploaded my all invoices, but in few cases I have given a wrong GSTR number of the recipient. Becomes mismatch. No mismatch will be there in case of auto population unless and until the recipient do some modifications to it. First thing, everything got auto populated from GSTR1 has been filed and it is auto populated in GSTR2. I have taken the same data, I have submitted my GSTR2. No mismatch. Because each and everything is auto populate, I have taken the same thing, there will be no mismatch. Again, GSTR1 is filed, it is auto populated in GSTR2A, but the value for which I have got an invoice is for 1 lakh rupees, but when I see my GSTR2A, he has mentioned 90,000 instead of 1 lakh. Then I do modification to that extent. If it is accepted by the supplier in GSTR1A, again there is no mismatch. In case if you won't accept or if he doesn't take any kind of action, then it will become a mismatch.
Even the rounding of difference also.
Rounding off we need to see. If system has given to that extent, like 1 rupee, 2 rupee reference has to be accepted.
Like that.
This is there at the level of 2, form 2, then it is okay. Form 3, how it will be?
Sorry sir?
The level of form 3 is very difficult to have mismatches.
Form 3. Form 3 there will be no mismatch sir. No, it is form GSTR3 is done. It is a mismatch under section 42. So what is section 42? And this matching concept has been given in the rules, not in the act. So what happens is after filing GSTR3, when I file my GSTR3 by 20th of the subsequent month, by 21st I will get a MIS report from the common portal. wherein it will give you a transaction how much is matched, how much is mismatched. Matched transactions, don't worry. Whenever it is a mismatched transaction, you have to see whether it is a mistake of the supplier or mistake of the recipient. If it is mistake of the supplier, he has to rectify the mistakes when he files the subsequent month return. For example, April month return has to be filed by 20th of May, right? And mismatch report can generate by 21st of May or before 31st of May. So once I get the mismatch report, now somebody has to accept the mistake. One should be recipient or one should be a supplier. Yes? If supplier accepts that he has done the mistake, then he should rectify the mistake when he files his May month return. When he will submit May month return by 20th of June. So before, while filing on 20th of June, he should rectify that mistake. If he has not rectified, then what happens? Whatever the ITC taken by the recipient will be added back to the output tax liability register in the month of June. So in the month of June it will be added, which has to be paid by 20th of July with interest.
Credit is not utilized also, I have to pay.
Yes, if you have availed, sufficient. If you have taken the credit, is sufficient for interest. There is no condition that you should utilize it where interest to attract interest. Okay, this happened. I have reversed with interest because supplier did not rectify it. But I fight with him, or else I will not give him a further orders, because of which subsequently he rectifies his mistake. For the mistake of April, he rectifies in the month of September. So what happens? Again, recipient will get back the amount whatever he had paid, along with interest it will be refunded. That means whatever the rectification done by the supplier in the month of September, to that extent my output tax liability register will be reduced, and interest whatever will be given, it will be given back to the respective interest code or interest head. That means subsequently I can use that amount for interest payment, or else I may require to claim a refund of it. And again, how much of the interest will be given back to me? They check how much of the interest paid by the recipient and how much of the interest paid by the supplier, whichever is less, that will be given back to me. Why this will happen? In case of delay in payment of GST, the rate of tax applicable is 18%. When it comes to a mismatch, the rate of tax may be at 24%. This is one thing, and one more is for delay of payment of GST, the due date may be computed from 20th of subsequent month. In case of ITC, it may be 15th of subsequent month. Because of all these variations, the interest paid by the supplier may be lesser than the interest paid by the recipient. So, and what the refund I will get is whichever is less. If the supplier has paid less amount, less interest, that is what I will be getting back, not the actual interest paid by me. Clear? Is there any doubt with respect to mismatch? No? Or nothing has been understood by anyone? All are so silent. Oh, that's nice. This is with respect to availment of credit. If I come back, supplier can raise a credit note. He can raise credit note wherein he can reduce the price, or he may give a discount which is linked to the supply. When he raises a credit note, what happens? There will be reduction in tax liability payable by him. So when this reduction will be given to him? When the corresponding recipient reduces his input tax credit to that extent. If he accepts a credit note in GSTR 2 and if he avails a credit reduced by to that extent, then only the reduction of output tax liability will be given to the supplier, or else again it will be added back with interest.
If I accept it, your system will automatically reduce the ITC.
Yes. If the credit note raised by the supplier is accepted by the recipient, there is no mismatch. If the recipient is not accepting it, then again there will be a mismatch and it will be added back to the output tax liability of the supplier, and where he may require to pay along with interest. Clear? Clear? Same thing is has been explained. In case of credit note, the matching will happen with credit note number and date instead of an invoice number and invoice date. Okay. For anybody, GSTR 4 is applicable. Compounding dealer, composition scheme. I'll just skip it. ISD.
Madam, composition they also upload the purchase.
Okay. I'll just summarize a composition dealer return. In case of a composition dealer, with respect to the outward supply, he'll give a consolidated figure because within the state he can do the transaction. But with respect to the inward supplies, he has to show invoice level. Why? Because he is also a registered person. If he has procured anything from a registered person, B2B should get matched. Because of this aspect, even he has to upload invoice level details of inward supplies, and even he is liable to pay tax if he has procured any goods or services from an unregistered person, and even Rule 9.3 will also be applicable for him. If he is obtaining any legal services, he is liable to pay under reverse charge. Clear?
Whatever he has purchased, that also will come under 4A will come.
Okay. It will get auto-populated, sir. 4A. It will get auto-populated in 4A instead of a 2A. But he has to file the same thing in GSTR 4.
In case legal bill, court fee and all those things includes, in that case, how to pay
Court fee is a statutory tax fee.
statutory?
You can remove that and pay on the balance. Only the fee part you have to pay. If it is a statutory fee which is paid on behalf of you, and if you have a sufficient document to prove that it is on a reimbursement basis, no need to pay on that amount. If you don't have any sufficient document on entire bill value, better pay under reverse charge and take the credit of it.
The middle of the
Yeah, pure agent service.
the middle of the year 75 lakhs, the crossing of 75 lakhs. GSTR 4. So from composition.
So in a composition scheme, if he crosses in the middle of the financial year, he will become a normal taxable assessee, and he will be converted from GSTR 4 to 1, 2, 3, and to that extent he has to see what is there in the closing stock. To that extent he will be eligible to take the credit also.
Now till the middle of the year means 30th they are going to, for example, the third quarter, the middle of the year he crosses 75 lakhs. So that quarter, next quarter is considered at the, because they have to make 2 returns.
May be applicable, sir.
He has to do 2 returns.
Yes, he needs to do the 2 returns for that period. One is for part of the period quarterly return he has to file, and again GSTR 1, 2, 3 will be applicable for him. Very difficult if he crosses in middle of the month. 2 returns will be applicable for him, not 2, 4 returns. Yeah. Okay. I'll just go through the input service distributor, because many of you may get registered under ISD in future because of distribution of credits. So whenever any of the person has registered as a ISD, he need to obtain a separate registration apart from the normal registration whatever he has. So that means for ISD one more GSTIN number will come, and he need to identify before procuring any goods or services whether it is common for all the branches or it is only for the particular head office. If it is only for the particular head office, they have to give the normal GSTIN number. If it is a common input, if it is a common service or a goods, then he has to give a ISD ka GSTIN number. So vendor has to mention GSTIN number of the ISD, then only it will come and sit in GSTR 6A, and by which I will be able to file GSTR 6. So whoever has to obtain ISD number, he should be very careful when he has to give the GSTIN number to the vendor. If it is for that particular branch का GSTIN number has to be given. If it is a common for all the branches, then he has to give a ISD ka registration number. Once he gives the ISD ka registration number, that will come and sit in GSTR 6A, by which he can file GSTR 6, and he need to see whatever the input services or goods he has procured, how much is eligible in it and how much is ineligible for the purpose of input tax credit, and he need to distribute both eligible credit as well as ineligible credit. There may be a question, if he is identified at ISD level itself this is ineligible, why he has to distribute the tax? Why he required to distribute ineligible tax also?
That particular branch where he has taken the credit.
No, ineligible tax, no. Particular unit also will not be eligible to take the credit of it.
Reversal.
Each state good should get their revenue. For example, the service is procured, the statutory audit service has been procured and it has been consumed in 4 different states. So the tax element also should pass on to the 4 different states. If it is eligible, will be given as a credit. If it is ineligible, then it will become a revenue of that state. Clear? So apart from this, there will be no other points which will be there in ISD. No, recipient is not required to have a separate registration. His normal registration would be sufficient. Yes.
Suppose my branch is in Ahmedabad, Delhi, etc. I will receive the bill for the Bangalore head office and it's related to Ahmedabad, Delhi. Then can I continue, apply the GST in Ahmedabad regular of GST?
No. Can you come back, sir?
I will receive the bill from Bangalore and having the head office in Bangalore and having the branches in Ahmedabad, Delhi, UP.
Okay.
Yeah. I have registered ISD in Bangalore, separate registration. I have taken the separate registration for ISD.
Okay.
For the distribution, for raising a invoice, which GST has to be used?
Okay. From Bangalore head office, if you are distributing a credit,
Yeah.
you have to raise a tax invoice with the GSTIN number of the Bangalore. Okay. And also 2 address will be your Ahmedabad branch and its GSTIN number, normal GSTIN number. Okay. Any other notes with respect to ISD?
One second.
Yes, sir.
We have office in Bangalore and
Okay.
also in Mumbai.
Okay.
2 different registrations.
Okay.
Okay, we have got some excess credit here, and we want to transfer that to Mumbai registration. Shall we take ISD
So
separately?
legally it is not suggested.
Not so.
ISD registration has to be obtained only when there is a common input services received in one place but consumed in
Other.
other places. Here you may require to do some other planning, not ISD ka planning. Okay. Annual returns. Annual returns, I will give you the gist of annual returns because formats are noted out with respect to the annual returns. To tell simply or to explain in a simpler manner, annual return is nothing but your profit and loss account. And also debit and credit entries in your balance sheet. So all your profit and loss account items should come and sit in your annual return. Your annual return should match with your GSTR 1, 2, 3, whatever you have filed for entire financial year of 12 months. And if there is any difference which is identified by the CA or CMA who has done the annual return audit, if your turnover is more than 2 crores, CA or cost of audit should do the audit. While doing the audit, if they identify any of the liability, that means you have to pay with interest and penalty. Credit also may not be available because September would have been already crossed. Clear?
Even it is mentioned, in case of audit, if it is identified.
Yes,
that
no
it is
problem.
available.
That audit is with respect to the proper offices. Yeah, 40, in section 37 only it is mentioned. In case if anything is identified during the scrutiny or audit and you pay that, you will not be, other party will not be eligible to take the credit of it. Yes. Annual returns I need to file by before 31st December of the subsequent to financial year. But I need to file annual return for each state wise. That means if you have taken a registration for 4 states, you have to file 4 annual returns, and you have to give the details as per GST. That means even the branch transfers, everything will be treated as a revenue with respect to the annual returns what I will file under GST. Okay. I think payment of tax is similar to online payment what we make under service tax. But when we create the challan, there is a concept of creation of a challan under GST. So before making a payment under GST, I need to create the challan wherein I need to show what is the amount I need to pay for CGST, SGST and IGST, and whether I will pay through NEFT or RTGST or debit card or credit card or OTC. Over the counter will be applicable only when your tax payment is less than 10,000 per tax period. That means you can't raise 2 vouchers for OTC. 1 voucher only you have to see that liability should come less than 10,000. Then only you can go for a OTC option. So once the challan is generated, it will be valid for 15 days. That means you have to use the challan and make the payment within 15 days. If you have not used the challan within 15 days, then challan will be expired. Once the challan will get expired, that will be treated as a memorandum errors, and it may have a impact on your GST rating also in future. So they call it as a memorandum error. This is what which I have observed in the payment PPT which was issued by the GSTN, wherein it tells memorandum of error, but I don't know how it will have an impact on anywhere else. If there is any impact, it will be on rating only. And one more thing before concluding, one more thing is wherever there is a mismatch of credit, mismatch of report, and whoever accepts it. For example, if supplier accepts that he has done the mistake and rectifies it, then it will have an impact on the rating of supplier. If the recipient accepts that he has done the mistake and he rectifies it, then the rating will have an impact on recipient. So there may be a conflict between the supplier and recipient only to rectify the error because of GST rating. However, this GST rating may not be applicable for next 3 to 6 months. Later on only GST rating may have implication. Initially, they have given a relaxation on procedural errors. Clear? If you have any doubts with respect to GSTR 1, 2, 3, we will take it up together and we will try to answer all your questions. So if you have any kind of questions, we will take together and we will try to answer all your doubts. Sorry? Challan, you have to log in. 1 minute. I'll just show it off because it's very important, because by 20th you have to pay your taxes also. Creation is here. No, next. I'll just show how the challan has to be generated. It's very easy. All the data will be auto-populated from your common portal information. Only amounts I need to fill. How much is CGST, how much is SGST, and how much is CGST.
And once the challan is generated, it will be valid for 15 days.
Yes.
Within 15 days, you can make a payment to that old challan itself. Suppose I generated a challan, I am making a payment after 16th day, that challan wouldn't be available. You have to generate a fresh challan and then make a payment.
Yes. If save challan and challan history, that means once I go to the create challan, each and every aspects will be auto-populated, only amount has to be filled. So after filling here, I have 2 options. I can save it or else I can generate the challan. If I simply save it, then validity is only 7 days. If you generate the challan, then validity is 15 days.
ಚಲನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಇ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬೋದಲ್ಲ.
Sorry? ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು sir,
ಚಲನ್
ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇ
Yes,
ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್.
immediately you can make the payment. If you see here, I need to mention a tax. Tax also I need to see CGST, SGST or IGST. Whatever it is visible is this side. It is called as a major heads, and whatever the tax, interest, penalty, fees, which will be called as a minor heads. So CGST, I need to see how much is the tax I require to pay, and also interest if it is anything is applicable on it, and what is the penalty, fee or any other amount which has to be paid. Same way, how much I need to pay off IGST. Similarly, cess if anything is applicable. If you see, when it comes to the state, it is automatically selected as a Telangana CGST based on my registration. Clear?
Where will you come across this?
Sorry? Cess will be applicable for luxury items like motor vehicle, aerated drinks.
Few products they have in the compensation cess. There was this federal structure and issues in the structure. Because of that cess they have brought it to compensate the states.
Payment also all the banks are not given e payment.
No, only notified banks actually.
No, if you go to the e-payment here, if you click on the e-payment, okay. If I go, it will get generated.
So one point I want to add here, can you scroll up? So see, to discharge your tax, you can make use of the what is there in the credit ledger. But to discharge interest, penalty, fees and any other things, even though there is credit, even it is balance is available in your credit ledger, you cannot set it off that. You have to pay in cash, so you have to deposit in your SB account, then only appropriate you to your.
Okay. And cash payment will come for composition dealer, he has to pay through cash. And section 52 TDS has to be paid through cash, TCS has to be paid through cash, and all reverse charge and URD purchases also I require to pay through cash only. Yes sir.
As soon as the payment is made, it will immediately credited to cash ledger.
Yes, it will immediately, real time basis it will get linked to your cash ledger.
There was one wrong,
Rumor.
which was spreading in WhatsApp saying that so please don't trust whatever is forwarded in WhatsApp. That one humble request we would like to make because we
after
tested it.
seeing,
So it was
after
like,
seeing the WhatsApp message, we really tested while making the payment. We made the payment, it will immediately come and sit in the cash ledger. Real time basis it will be shown in cash ledger.
because everybody's worry was till 17th nobody can file the return even though everything is perfect.
Yes.
So 18th, 19th and 20th is the only date. If it takes 3 days time, should I simply speculate and keep some balance in the cash ledger or some issue people had? Not required. Once 17th is over, you know what is plus sign and what is the set-offs, all that. So you know the exact limit. On 17th you can pay immediately, you will get it in balance in the cash ledger. You can appropriate 18th, 19th, 20th, any of the 3 days you can file your return.
Yes. And here also if you see lastly I can save the challan or else I can generate the challan. If we save, it is valid for only 7 days. If we create the challan, it is valid for 15 days. So once you create the challan, you can use the challan and make the payment out of it.
So up to 10,000 over the counter, it will
Yes.
be done. It can be done. See, if you want to pay through cash or over the counter, only 10,000 is the limit. Beyond that, it is your e-payment mode or the electronic payment modes, NEFT, RTGS, credit cards, debit cards, all this option is there.
Whenever you save the challan, that will come and sit in a saved challan and challan history. Whenever you make the payment, once the SIN is get generated, that is challan identification number, that will come and sit in challan history. You can go back and see how much of the tax you have paid and against which challan. So this option has been given in online itself. Okay.
Just be aware before choosing that. See, when you realize that it was reverse or something, you will have to again make a payment. So filling the challan is also a process. Ensure double checks on that and see to it that it is proper to discharge the liability accordingly.
Okay.
Madam, our service provider agreement was initially the service I received with principal based in Mumbai.
Yes, come again.
So now on the GST, we need to put the invoice GST number of which.
One of the transitional issues to be taken care is review of the contracts.
Okay.
This is very important. Post GST regime, you should see what are clauses and what are the renewals that are required in the for the GST, that is start afresh. That is a better idea.
So presently to whom we are raising the bill actually?
To the bank.
To the?
To a bank. Private sector bank. Yes.
To the Bombay or else to the
No,
bank?
currently we don't have a billing system. It's an automatic worksheet
Huh?
wherein we say approved and the payment comes into our account. Business writing comes as an Excel
What
sheet.
is the service you are providing to them actually?
Market financial services for banks.
Okay. With from whom you have a agreement actually, initial agreement?
With the bank.
Means from
Mumbai.
head office
Head
Mumbai.
office, head office.
So I think in this case you may be liable to bill to the Mumbai only unless and until you get any kind of instruction from them. You split your transactions and bill Mumbai this much and Karnataka this much. You may require to wait for them. You may require to recheck with them also how you want to design the invoicing under GST.
So then we should take a interstate registration.
For you, there is no interstate registration. Where you are actually? Where you are?
Based in Bangalore. So
If you are comes under a service,
Okay.
so it may come under a restricted clause. You have to see where the recipient is located. If the recipient is located outside Karnataka, you have to charge IGST.
Okay.
If the recipient located within Karnataka, you have to charge CGST and SGST and yes. Yes, sir.
We don't have ASP, GSP,
Hmm.
so I cannot view those GSTR 2-1 transactions, right?
No, you can also be. It is normal that this is not ASP or GST. This is a normal Assasika login. What I have done.
The other person suppliers invoices.
I'll just show you that also. If you see here, if I go to the return, when you go to the dashboard, the GSTR 2A is also visible. Unless and until if somebody has recorded some transaction. If you see auto drafted details of GSTR 2A is there. Anybody can view it if he is a registered person. Okay.
This is the direct portal
Sorry?
of the
How
GST.
it can be?
If you click on view, if anybody has recorded any transaction with respect to my GSTN number, will come and sit here. Presently nobody has recorded any transaction against me, that's why it is empty. If it is anything is there, if I go to the B2B invoice, the transaction will come and sit here. We have already tested this also. Real time basis it will come. It will not wait the other person to submit his GSTR1. Before submitting only it will come and sit in my draft GSTR2A. But I will not be allowed to do any kind of 5 options which was given. That is accept, register or keep it in pending. So that option will not be given to me. Unless until 10th gets over. The due date for filing GSTR1 gets over.
Probably 6th of September.
Yeah. In this case. Okay.
If you are included in the invoice, have to pay the tax.
Yes.
What is applicable to that product. Instead of claiming through that invoice, shall I write the separate invoice for applicable 5% rate?
Yes, you can do that. You can do that, sir. You are asking ocean freight, right?
Transportation to customer.
Transportation, yeah. Who is providing the service to you actually?
Transport is provided.
Then he will raise a consignment note, no? He will give you the invoice.
Telling I am claiming from customer. As per the purchase order, I am claiming from the customer. Because my price is acquired. My price is acquired. I am claiming from the customer as a reimbursement. If I claim in the invoice, I have to pay 28% or 18% as applicable to that product. Instead of claiming on invoice, whether I shall claim separate debit note or separate invoice as
Sir, if
applicable.
you, I understood your question. If you treat it as a composite supply, you are supplying some goods. Along with that, you are collecting a incidental charges.
Yes.
That is transportation. If you show in the invoice, it will become a composite supply, and you may require to pay the tax, whatever is applicable for such goods or supply of service for the transportation charges as well. And if you want to raise a separate invoice also, you have to charge 18% only because you are not registered as a GTA. The 5% will be applicable only when the such service of transportation is provided by GTA. If you are not registered at GTA and you are collecting some amount as a transportation charges, 18% will be applicable on it.
Because you are doing a facilitation service. You are not the, you are receiving that service from the GTA. Of course, RCM would be applicable for you. You have to view this transaction from 2 perspectives. One, who is paying to GTA? you are paying if you are not sending on 2-pay basis, right? Is this correct? Okay. So taking that this is not a 2-pay transaction, you are paying to the GTA, so 9(3) applies to you and you have to discharge or at 5% rate. But when it comes to your billing, it is a composite supply. Why are you transporting? Simply you are transporting? No. Because you are supplying goods, you are transporting. So the principal supply here is supply of goods. The other things are composite rate. So what happens in such a case is what happens is the above rate applies. That is the 18% is applicable, or suppose if it is a 28% category product, then 28% will apply. Now a question comes, I supply exempt goods, okay? Can I take this composite supply concept for that exempt goods and say that since my principal products do not have a tax rate, I will not collect tax?
Yes.
No, I can't say this. I
Yes,
can't
yes.
say this because if we look at the composite supply definition, it says 2 or more taxable supplies.
Exempt supply is also taxable supply. Here there is a different view. Her understanding is exempted supply is not a taxable supply, but when we go to the taxable supply definition, it includes any service wherein GST is leviable. Even exempted service also leviable to GST, but they have given an exemption. In this case, if you are supplying any exempted goods and transportation is also there, and if you are treating it as a composite supply, no GST on transportation as well.
But this is effective through a notification, right? Had it come through the tariff, then
No.
okay, probably I think
Okay.
But
Any other doubts?
one more addition to this.
Yes.
If you have 2 contracts, one for supply and one for supply of transportation separately, then I have 2 separate contracts.
Sir, I need to see the nature of transactions. Then I need to decide whether it's a composite or a mixed supply. So if one thing is going in conjunction with the other, without transportation I will not be able to sell the goods. In that situation, I can treat it as a composite supply, even though there is a 2 different contracts. This is my view, because once it will become a conjunction with each other. But we need to see the department interpretation of the composition definition also.
No, what you are telling is right, because if I go to the valuation, that's I have.
Sir?
that is a non-taxable supply.
Non-taxable, so it's not a composition, mixed supply. Highest rate will be applicable.
Yeah.
No, but you need to always see liquor is outside the GST. It's outside the GST, so there may not be any chances that attracting GST on liquor.
Madam, I am.
And that is made as a
That issue is there when you are supplying the liquor with the transportation, and transportation attract GST. So what should be the implication on liquor? So we suggest you to make it 2 separate invoices in that situation. Make it as a mixed supply.
Madam,
Separate invoice, split up. So
regarding transport only, I am having a factory having a taxable of 28%. What I will going to do, I will create one transporting agency to give delivery from the factory to the buyer. So I will pay only 5% charge on freight. So instead of paying 28% on the goods, what I will do, I will create one transport agency for. So from factory, that it will move to all over the state.
So this is a planning can be done in any manner, sir. If you really
But all
think of it,
the
you
same
can
case, what are
plan.
the big concrete products? The cement concrete
As a
product.
business vertical, if instead of me transporting and including it in an invoice, I will tell the recipient to pay the transportation directly to the GT, and you pay under reverse charge. He'll pay under reverse charge of 5%. So that means higher rate can be avoided in that situation.
So one thing I repeat, one thing I repeat.
So for example, when I collect the transportation charges from the recipient, if I have incurred the transportation charges, then only I will include it in my invoice
Correct,
value
correct.
and collect from him.
Yeah.
Instead of that, I need to have an agreement wherein I can tell, I'll sell the goods. I'll charge only for the goods. I'll arrange the transportation. You pay the freight to the transporter, and you pay GST also under reverse charge, and you take the credit of it. He'll pay 5% and take the credit of it, and it will get closed.
Those charges doesn't get recorded in his books at all. So that is a simple solution.
But the recipient should agree for
Agree
it.
for that to pay.
Risk and reward should also will be carried forwarded to him.
Custom clearing charges to
Sorry, sir, reimbursement?
custom clearing charges. Like EO charges, EDA charges.
Sir, actually, freight forwarding have a lot of challenges with them. One is they incur plenty of expenses, but they won't do. They give it to a third party usually. If you previously have seen the CHA bill, the CSA charges will be 3,000 to 5,000 and tax. All other expenses will be with supporting and as a pure agent concept. But under GST, they may not be able to follow the pure agent concept because the invoice should be in the name of a recipient instead of a CHA name. And invoice should have a GSTR number of the recipient who is actually receiving the service. This may not be possible practically. So you have to sell the CHA, you take credit on all the supporting invoices, whatever you have, you charge me on the entire total GST.
Which in turn we can claim the credit.
This is only passing on of the ITC. This is the only idea to pass on the ITC. If they go for a pure agent, they'll have a big challenge to give the GSTR number of the supplier to the other vendors who are providing the service to a CHA. Here actually what happens, CHA may go to a liner may go to a one more person. So there will be lot of other people who will be actually providing the service.
Some CHS are getting bifurcated, not taxable, taxable.
Sorry?
Right pay to department is
Very nice question. For paying bribe, do you have any kind of document with you? Sir, outside the law, it is actually.
No, where to categorize it?
I don't know. So they have not given any HSN for bribe.
Probably 100th chapter is dedicated for that.
No, 91st is pending still.
Yes, I'll just give a gist of reimbursement. What happens to the reimbursement? One thing you should tell your employees whenever they spend any expenses in relation to the business, always take the invoice in the name of the company and give the GSTR number of the company. Okay? When it comes back to you, if it is a B2B transaction, you don't have any kind of problem. And he is not registered, but you are registered, then URD concept will get attracted. This is the two things. In case if the employer was unable to get the invoice in the name of company, you have to take a decision. One, whether you should consider that as a URD, or another is employee has spent this expense in the lieu of business, and even though the invoice in the name of employee also, the expenses is accounted under company, so it is deemed that it is in the name of company, and if it is coming from a business guy, don't pay tax. If it is from an unregistered person, you pay the tax. Yes, you have to. GSTR number. That issue is there. If it is a B2B, if I am not given my GSTR number to him, how it will come as a B2B? So this issue is there, which is not yet resolved. But I should not pay again tax on it merely because I can't show it in my return. So that we need to ask for a clarification, madam. No problem actually. You have to take decision. There will be a little risk on it. If the invoice is in the name of employee, there is a little risk on it. But however, you can argue that the expenses are incurred for the purpose of business and in lieu of the company. So I take it as in the name of company, and even the income tax department is allowing you the expenses to that extent, right?
But input tax is allowable for that?
No. Sorry.
So input tax is allowable for that invoice?
No, if the invoice is in the name of employee, no input tax credit.
Suppose if I get a B2C invoice, because some
Business person has given you a service.
yes, he has given a service and B2C invoice, he has collected the tax. So that is also not applicable.
If it is a B2C and you have to take the credit, means you have to manually record the transaction and ask the business person to revise the information in the subsequent month. what happens is he has to reduce the B2C turnover and increase the B2B turnover by giving your invoice.
Next month he can do them.
He can do that.
Next month.
He can do that, but many of the suppliers may not be willing to do it because there may be an implication on rating also.
So whatever, some purchase expenditure we have, he may have bill B2C like that, lump sum has entered. So when we came to take the input, so we'll intimate them to make it.
Yes, you can do that. Initially 6 months you can do all these things. After 6 months there may be a possibility of not accepting all these things because there may be a implication on rating. Okay.
Here classification, classification is a machinery as a selling. One rate is there. Parts and components are in earlier cases what we are doing. In parts of machinery we are selling one chapter and a rate of equal is 12.5% or so. Now is a different rate is there. So a 28 is there, 18% is there. How to sell the components as a purchase?
Sir, again there will be two things. If you are selling the parts and ancillary along with the machinery, one kind of impact will come. If you are selling only the parts, another impact will come. If you are selling the machinery and you are also giving certain parts and ancillary along with the machinery, I can take it as a composite supply of goods, and whatever the rate of machinery, I will apply for the entire accessible value.
Even though the price, purchase order price is separately.
Yes, if you treat it as a composite, for this we may require to see a PO or agreement, whatever you have entered with your vendor or the customer. That has to be seen and decided. But to be going understanding the facts in a similar manner, if I treat it as a composite supply, because parts are going in conjunction with the main product of the machinery what you are selling, I can treat it as a composite supply and I can charge one rate. If you are selling only the parts, then you have to see what is the rate of tax applicable for the parts and you have to charge that.
What is the last dates for filing July and August month?
Return.
Payment and return.
Okay, for July 2017, 20th of August is the last date for paying the tax and filing GSTR 3B. But however, GSTR 1 will come in 5th of September and 1st to 5th, but last date is 5th of September and GSTR 2 is I think 15th of September. 10th of September. Payment already made, no, August itself.
August 20th itself.
20th August itself you would have made the payment.
So last date, it is the due date actually. It is not the last date, it is the due date. So if
due date of filing return will be the last date for paying the tax.
So
sorry?
Postpone the date.
No, presently as of now GSTR 3B has to be filed by 20th of August. When you have to file GSTR 3B by 20th of August, even the cash or payment has to be made by 20th of August itself.
Okay, one point I want to add, then you can continue the next.
GSTR without GSTR 1 and GST2, how to conclude?
That is what we have to prepare the reconciliation statement as read and explained.
What happens is GSTR 3B will come into picture only when GSTR 1 and 2 cut due date has been postponed. Okay, and GSTR 3B they'll ask you to give the consolidated amount. However, to arrive at consolidated amount, you should have one more document, a back-end document to arrive at consolidated figures. So it is nothing but doing GSTR 1 and 2 only, but you would have done in a back-end and shown the gross value in GSTR 3B.
So what if I don't file in time? There is a penalty of
In case of GSTR 1, 2 and 3, if there is any delay in filing of the return, 100 rupees per day penalty is there, maximum of 5,000. So for concluding 1, 2, 3 per month, 15,000 maximum penalty may be there. And GSTR 3B being 1, I think 5,000 will be the maximum penalty of it.
And one more point, if I don't file on 10th, GSTR 1 we have to file on 16th only.
Yes, 11 to 15 GSTR 1 cannot be filed. Not like
If
filing.
you miss out filing on first, you should ask all your buyers to update and you have to accept 15 to 17. I'm just telling you, but
if there is any mismatch in GSTR 3 and after that 1 and 2,
again amendments will happen.
Sir, what you are telling? There is a difference in GSTR 3B to GSTR 1 and 2. 3. Then you have to keep the reconciliation, tell them why the difference is there. or else you need to pay the interest and penalty.
For July and August month, you have to file 3B. 3 is not required.
Three only, no, 3B I have to file now.
No, I need to see if there is a GSTR 1 and 2 when you are filing, and if there is 3 should come actually. Due date has not been there actually. For GSTR 3 there is no due date, but GSTR 3 has to be filed. So if there is any difference between GSTR 3B and 3, we should have a sufficient reason to explain why the difference is there, and difference is giving me a more liability. I may require to pay with interest. That will be the
But I pay 5,000 and postpone to next 3 months.
sorry.
I pay 5,000 and postpone to next 3 months.
You can, but subsequently also will not be able to file the return. And if you are not filing the return, your customers will not get the credit, and you will lose your customers.
I'm saying instead of August, I will do it by September.
Yeah, that can be done. That can be done. Payment also with interest you may require to pay. What the sir is telling is, instead of filing GSTR 3B, can I directly file GSTR 1, 2 and 3 with late interest payment on the cash? But I don't think whether it will be allowed by the portal. It may give you a first GSTR 3B only to fill, then GSTR 1, 2, 3.
Better.
And 20,000 may become the penalty, including GSTR 3B. Okay. Sir, any other questions we'll take offline. So those who want to leave, actually they can leave because the time is already, oh I got 6:20, and we don't want to disturb any other's plan also. And thank you so much for your patience and having such a good interactive session.